Hi guys, I'm Janae and welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to be doing this video because I've really been thinking about doing this type of video for like a long time, but I really did not want to be redundant. So to avoid that, I have a love for Spanish that if you know, you know. But I realized that I don't know about the things that go on in Latin America, like as far as murders and serial killers. So I was like, let me bring them to the American people. Let me bring their stories to America. Now, they might have already made it here. They may not have. I don't know. But I know for a fact, I have never heard of any of these people. And they are all from Latin America. So that's what I'm doing. So without further ado, we just gonna hop right in. I'm about to start with my eyebrows because they need to get together. My eyebrow lady texted me the other day and she told me that they're temporarily closed because of like a mall dispute, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, can't go get my eyebrows threaded, so gotta fix them myself. But not really. I'm just gonna clean them up. So today I'm gonna be talking about Pedro Pablo Nakada Ludeña. So this guy, Pedro, was born in Lima, Peru on February 28, 1973. His mother and father were a married couple, but his dad was abusive. Now, it was unclear from my research if his father was abusive to the children, but he was definitely abusive to his wife. And I can't think apparently while I do this. Oh, before I get all the way into the story, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if I be looking crazy by the eyelid, it's because I'm still practicing. I'm not the best at eyeshadow and stuff like that, so I figure I could practice while I talk about something that I like and practice my Spanish at the same time. Oh yeah, so Pedro's dad was abusive to his mom. Like I said, I don't know if he abused his kids or not, but he abused the mama. And he was an alcoholic, which explains why he was abusive. Not saying that all alcoholics are abusive, but that's usually like, they usually go hand in hand. But what happened to the happy drunks? Like, are there a lot of, no, I ain't got no room to talk. Let me shut up. Anyways, his mom is said to have had mental illness. I think they said she was schizophrenic. They said that she was schizophrenic, and I don't know if she was that, like, made her like, well, I'm pretty sure she was like crazy as all hell in the household. Like, I'm pretty sure that house was chaotic. His parents had 9 kids. He was the 3rd out of the 9, and according to him, his sisters would dress him up like a girl and take him outside and like let all their little friends laugh and make fun of him. And then his brothers, they really wasn't no better. It's not like they had to do back or nothing like that. It's almost like they didn't like him or something, because they knew he was gonna be crazy. I'm sure they knew, but that's no reason to treat your sibling like shit. I mean, he's already going through some stuff, so. But they really didn't have the best examples either, so there's that. But Pedro said that he used to abuse animals as a child, which we all know is like telltale sign of a murderer. But his brothers actually sexually assaulted him once. I don't know if this was a one-time event or like if it happened multiple times, but they sexually assaulted him because they thought that Pedro had killed their pregnant dog. But Pedro said he didn't do that, but like, who really knows, because he did admit to abusing animals. But I mean, I guess if he admitted to abusing animals, then why wouldn't he just fess up to this then? I don't know. He said he didn't do it, but nonetheless, the brothers sexually assaulted him. And this is where he developed his hatred for homosexuals. Y'all can see where this is going, right? So fast forward to 2003, Pedro Pedro paid a Japanese man 800 sols, which is, oh, I didn't even tell y'all where he's from. Pedro is from Peru. So yeah, in 2003, he paid a Japanese man to adopt him so that he could become a Japanese citizen. And apparently, he had been committing crimes up until this point, because this is common among Peruvians to try to get adopted by Japanese so that they can have Japanese citizenship, go to Japan, and avoid paying for their crimes in Peru. So yeah, he did that, but for whatever reason, I don't know, he didn't go to Japan. I know this because of the series of events that happens next. He didn't go to Japan, and actually that's how he got the name Nakada, because he was born Pedro Pablo Messias? I think it's Messias Ludeña, but once he paid the Japanese man to adopt him, so I mean, I guess the adoption was successful. His name became Nakada Ludeña instead of Messias. Now, later on, Pedro's friends will go on to describe him as having weird behaviors or tendencies. They didn't really say what those tendencies were. I just know that they said that one thing that he used to do every single night was take a walk. We all take walks though, no? No, I don't. Let me stop. But like, it's normal to take a walk, right? So, yeah. They said he would take walks or whatever. Cool, right? Sure. But it's the things that Pedro heard on these walks. Mind y'all, he was walking alone. But he said that he would hear God tell him to rid the world of homosexuals, drug addicts, prostitutes, and criminals. So, yeah. Now, up until 2005, I'm not really sure what Pedro was up to. But, like at the beginning of 2005, and I mean very beginning, as in January 1st, 2005, he decided this is the year. This my year. New year, new me. So on January 1st, 2005, we have Pedro's first recorded victim. Let me apologize in advance if I say these names completely wrong, because child, let me tell you, I thought I was good at Spanish. I thought I could speak Spanish really well until I had to read these names out loud. Now, in my mind, I'm saying I'm perfectly fine. But when they come out of my mouth, it's like, wrong. So, apologies in advance. Yeah. So, Pedro's first recorded victim was a 26-year-old man named Carlos Duberto Merino Aguilar. This poor guy was probably just on the street minding his business. And here come Pedro trying to do God's work and shoots him because Pedro thought he was going to rob him. Little did he know, homeboy probably wasn't even thinking about you. And so, yeah, that's how Pedro started his 2005, by killing somebody. Now, I don't know if this was Pedro's first murder or what, but he didn't kill nobody again that we know of. I'm not going to say he didn't do it, but not that we know of until 2006. So on May 31st, 2006, Pedro ran across his next victim, who was Teresa Katrina Abad. And this is a 50-year-old woman who was doing nothing other than smoking cigarettes. That's it, smoking cigarettes. She was probably stressed. Her job making her mad. She ready to retire, but she can't just yet. She was stressed. She was smoking. And here come Pedro once again. Let her be. Now, after Teresa, there was Walter Sandoval Osario. He was a 44-year-old man, and Pedro shot him in the head. He later on died at the hospital, and this was on July 20th of 2006, so 2 months later. And Pedro said that he killed him because he was a criminal. Now, my question is, how did Pedro know he was a criminal? I don't even know what the crime was. Did Pedro, like, catch him in the act of committing a crime? Like, what was the crime? We don't know. So how do you know he was a criminal? Are you, like, scanning police database looking for criminals? Because, sir, you need to be looking for yourself. You're a criminal. But anyway, I digress. So the next victim was 30-year-old Gerardo Leonardo Cruz Libya. We don't know the day that he was killed, but the date that his body was discovered was on August 8th. And he was actually found at the bottom of a water well. So Pedro shot him in the head and then threw him in the well. And Pedro killed him because basically he didn't want him to snitch on him. Like, they had committed a string of crimes prior. It said that they had murdered somebody together and they had robbed either people or a person together. And Pedro was like, you know what? You might snitch. I can't trust you no more. So let me just go ahead and rid the world of you because you, sir, are a criminal who committed crimes with me. Okay, sir. Now, I wonder if Carlos, the first victim, is the guy that they murdered together. Because, you know, Pedro took a break. So maybe he was like, let me see what he gonna do. Let me see if he gonna snitch about this case before I finish doing God's work. So 10 days later, on August 18th, there was another victim found, and this was Carlos Walter Tarazona Toledo. And he died from a gunshot wound to the head. As y'all can tell, this is Pedro's MO right by now. He shoots people with a 9mm, and he actually killed them with a 9mm and a homemade silencer. He made it. Now, I'm guessing he was really smart, though, because he made a silencer out of, what's that? House shoe slippers, like the rubber of a house shoe. Like that little bottom part, you know, that part that hurt really bad when you get popped with it. He killed this Carlos because he was smoking drugs. Now, what the drugs was, I don't know. It could have just been a little bit of weed. Like, sir, leave that man alone and let him get high. And even if it wasn't weed, who are you? Can't you be doing that? Like, he get on my nerves. Pedro's next victim was found just a day after they found Carlos. Her name is Maria Veronica Tolentino Paguelo. And she was a 15-year-old girl who was pretty much just doing what 15-year-olds do, having fun. She was going down to Santa Rosa, and I think that's like where people go to have fun, party. Almost, well, I don't know exactly what it is, but to me, it almost sounds like a boardwalk. Like, I don't know, just a place where people go to have fun, almost like Santa Monica. Maybe that's why, because it's called Santa Rosa, but that's just what it reminds me of. That's just what I think of. That's what we're gonna say. I mean, because she was 15, what really, you know what I mean? Like, what else would she be doing besides trying to have fun? Anyways, and plus she was on a bike, so I just picture like boardwalk, riding on a bike, etc., etc. This foundation looks crazy. Pedro killed her basically because he needed a means of transportation. He needed a bike, and well, maybe he couldn't drive, because wouldn't you just try to steal a car to get around? I don't know. But anyways, he went over down by Santa Rosa to kill smokers, basically. And he needed a bike, and so he killed her for her bike. Now, turns out the bike actually had a broken tire. So you killed her for no good reason, sir. You killed all these people for no good reason, honestly. But because you needed a means of transportation, you was just too broke. You was out here robbing and killing folks, but you couldn't afford a bike. Paying people $800 to escape a country that you never left. Like, sir, get your life together. Get your life. Pedro actually said that he felt bad about killing this one, and this is really actually the only one that he felt bad about, because he said that he didn't know she was this young, and that's why. But other than that, he was like, well, You should feel bad about everybody. Everybody. I'm trying to blend this out. But I think I put too much. I actually just need a blending brush because your girl threw away all her brushes one time when I got mad. Because I forget why I was mad, but I was mad and I was like, fuck all these brushes. They're going in the trash. And now look at me sitting here looking stupid in the face and don't got enough brushes to do what I need to do. But we gonna make it work. We gonna thug it out. Now, Pedro's next victim wouldn't be found until November 18th, 2016 to be exact. And this was Hugo Viches Palomino. Now, his age is unknown, but Pedro said he killed him because he basically wanted to have sex with his wife. Now, what intrigued me was that Pedro had a wife, because there's not really much information on her, or like, as far as I know. Anyway, not only did he shoot and kill Hugo, but he took his gun, he took his gun, his cell phone, and the Discman. Now, for the kiddies who don't know what a Discman is, I'm trying to find a picture. And yeah, that's what a Discman is. It's a little portable, compact device. It's a little portable device that you take to put your CDs in. And if you don't know what a CD is, then, well, damn, you're really young. Oh yeah, there were Discmans in 2006. But like, how you out here killing people because you say they criminals or whatever? But you not only killing them, which is like, I feel like the ultimate crime, but you robbing them too, sir. Like, cut the crap. Like, you ain't killing them because God told you to. You killing them because you want to. Just say that. Now, the next couple of people that Pedro killed were together. They were Luis Enrique Armaron Cervantes, Pedro Omar Serrera, and Enoch Elicio Felix Zorillo. Now, they were all in a taxi, and I'm inclined to believe that Hugo was the driver of the taxi. I mean, just based off of their ages, actually. That's why I said that, because, you know, the other two were in their 20s. I feel like they was about to be on their way to, like, have a good old time, go to a party, you know, get dropped off. They wanted to take a taxi because they was going to be drunk, you know, stuff like that. But, unfortunately, they ran into Mr. Pedro somehow, and he decided that they were all using that taxi to go commit sexual assaults. How he came to this conclusion, nobody will ever know. But nonetheless, he said that that's what they were doing, and so he shot all three of them because they were criminals. I do apologize because the last victims, those last three victims and this next victim that I'm about to tell y'all about, I said out of order. The last victims were found on November 26th, and this victim, Mr. Wedmer Jesus Munoz Villanueva, he was found on November 19th. So those two should be switched. Now this one, Mr. Wedmer, his is really sad because Pedro, he kind of like set him up. He set him up for sure. Pedro said that he kind of solicited sex from Wedmer, and when he went to go pull down his pants to engage in the sexual activity that Pedro had solicited from him, because, I mean, he was a male prostitute, but, I mean, sir, you could have just left him alone. Anyway, when he went to go pull his pants down, Pedro shot him in the back of his head. And Pedro also said that he shot him not only because he was homosexual, but because he had AIDS and he was spreading it to the world, and that was killing people. But Pedro, you're killing people. Just saying. On December 10, 2006, Mr. Nel Cajaleon Paguelo was found with a gunshot wound to the head. And Pedro killed him because his broke ass couldn't afford a car, once again. So he robbed him for his bike. No other reason. Mr. Najario Julian Tamariz Perez and Mr. Dile Jesus Zapata Dulanto. Their death dates and discovery dates are unknown, but they are two of Pedro. They are the next two victims of Pedro, and they were killed for none other than having what sounds to me like a good old funky time, because they were both, why am I doing that like I'm blending it? But they were shot down at a canal, because they were about to engage in sexual activity with one another. Some people are into public sex. I mean, it's the kink of it all. Hello. It's to spice up a relationship. Everybody ain't into bedroom sex, okay? On December 24th, 2006, Pedro shot and killed Agustin Andres Maguiña Oropez and Luis Malaganero Sáenz. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. He shot them both in the head and claimed that it was because they were alcoholics, and at some point or another they saw him commit a crime. Like, Pedro, you really aggravated me at this point, because, sir, you're just really annoying. All these people just be minding their business, minding their good old damn business, whether they criminals or not. Sir, you are a whole ass criminal out here in these streets. What are you talking about? Like, why are you killing these folks? Sir, somebody needs to kill you. Sorry to say that, but like, sir, let these people live their lives. Let they have little lives. If they criminals, the police gonna get them. You are not the police. And 3 days later, on December 27th, Pedro killed Mr. Nicholas Tolentino Burizaga Gamboa. And he killed him because he was smoking drugs, and at some point or another, he robbed Pedro. But I ain't even mad at dude, because Pedro, you probably needed to be robbed at this point. I'm just saying. Like, you doing all this other stuff, all this extra stuff, doing too much. Somebody needs to rob you, give you a taste of your own medicine, like Queen Naja. Give you a taste of your own medicine. And you ain't like that, did you? You ain't like it. And I know you didn't like it because you killed a man. Stupid. Now, this will be the last of Pedro's victims that we know of, because on December 28th, I'm not really sure the events that led up to Pedro's capture. I'm not like sure if the police was already looking for him. Well, they had to have already been looking for him, or what tip, like how they came to discover that this was Mr. Pedro reigning terror in Peru all of 2005. I mean, all of 2006. But they somehow discovered that it was Pedro, and they went to his place of work, which was an auto shop, like an auto mechanic shop or auto body shop, something like that. I know it was an auto shop. And they went to go arrest him. But Sir Pedro wasn't going down without a fight. No, he was not. He said, fuck the police. And he started shooting at him. Like, Pedro, why you got a gun at work? But nonetheless, he had one, and he started shooting at the cops. But this did not deter the cops. They took old Pedro down. Now, one of the cops did get injured in the shootout. I don't think he died, so good. But they ended up taking Pedro in, where he confessed to all his crimes. Now, he actually confessed to 25 murders, but they only charged him with 17. I'm not 100% sure why. Maybe because they either never found the bodies, or they just never had enough proof to say that, hey, this was you, Pedro. Like, I don't know what the case was, but they did not charge him with all of them, with all 25. They only charged him with the 17 that I just told you about. And I think he tried to plead insanity. I really do. I think he tried to plead insanity, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I don't even know if that's such a bad idea, because we all know that Pedro has a history of, like, well, his family has a history of mental illness, so I could understand that. But in any event, they gave old boy 30 years for these crimes, which, I mean, that's long enough, but not really. I mean, what is the, I don't know. Now, you would think that since I was done telling you about Pedro and he was arrested and Buddy spending 30 years, the next 30 years in prison, that this story will be over, right? Right. But no, it's not. So here's the thing. I told you Pedro had 8 other siblings, and he was the third one, right? I told y'all that. Now, his younger brother, I'm gonna have to put his name on the screen because I cannot think of it for the life of me right now. I'm so sorry, y'all. I just can't even, I can't think of it. But he, too, paid Mr. Nakada, that Japanese man that Pedro paid. He also paid him to become to adopt him and become a Japanese citizen. Now, the difference between Pedro's brother and him was that Mr. Brother actually did go to Japan. Now, I'm not sure how long after Pedro's crimes this was, but Mr. Sir over there went on a killing spree of his own. This man went over there and killed 6 people. Now, he killed a mother, her 2 children, and then 3 others. I'm so sorry. I don't have their names or any of those type like details or whatever, but I do know that he killed 6 people. And when the police went to go arrest him, this fool he either slit his throat. I think he slit his own throat. He didn't die though. He slit his own throat. And then sat on the edge, like I'm picturing this, so I'm trying to tell y'all from memory. So he sat on the edge of, he was in the windowsill. He slit his wrist also, and then jumped out the window. So you cut your throat, you slit your wrist, and you jumped out the window. Sir, you're doing too much. If you ain't want to get caught, if you wanted to die, you should have killed you first. You ain't have to kill everybody else. Just saying. Now, I don't know the particulars, like I said, of his case. And maybe I should have looked into that. I'm sorry. This is my first video. Forgive me. But nonetheless, I came to the conclusion that this whole family is just nuts. They just all crazy. I don't know if the brother was like inspired by Pedro or not, but sir, you couldn't be inspired by one of your less violent siblings. Now, in conclusion, y'all, I know that some of Pedro's victims were criminals themselves and prostitutes and robbers, people who did drugs. I mean, I was about to say doing drugs ain't a crime, but it kind of is. At least in the States it is. But drug abusers and just people that you would think are bad for society. Like, that's not your judgment. That's not for you to say. You don't know why somebody is doing drugs. You just never know. Like, they might, and it's easy to say, just don't do it if you've never been put in the situations that they've been put in. But some people use that stuff to cope. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm just saying it's nobody on this God's green earth to go out killing them, because that's what they doing. If they gonna get caught up by the law for doing it, then let them get caught up by the law. You are not the judge, the jury, or the executioner. Well, Pedro, I'm even gonna say you, because I hope y'all ain't out here just killing folks because they're criminals. While I was researching this story, y'all, I was getting so upset. All of his reasonings were absolutely absurd and outrageous. Like, sir, how you out here killing criminals when you a whole ass criminal? Not to mention you're killing folks too. which makes you the top dog in criminal activity. All right, y'all, so that's the end of Pedro and his crazy ass little brother's story. Let me know if y'all like this look. I think I did this right. I mean, I hope I did it right. I don't know. Either way, let me know in the comments if y'all liked it, and tell me some names that y'all think I should call it, because I really don't even know. I mean, I kind of got an idea of what I want to call this series, but then not really. So just let me know in the comments, and like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And yeah. Oh, if y'all have any like people y'all want to see me talk about or research, then let me know in the comments. If y'all don't have any, guess what? Got a couple up my sleeve. So I'll give y'all some time to think about it. But in the meantime, in between time, I will see y'all in the next video. And yeah, bye.